the illustrious members in this case, Dr. Gavin, Jamson Hill, Meera ji, Matri Yogarchari, Asim ji, Pawan ji, Kavita ji, Satyam Raja, Tumbies Murli ji in this case, Kanu Mega, everyone in this case. And to answer the first question first, that Professor Dapon raised, the problem in Texas has been created because of what we call as Arctic vortex. Now, Arctic vortex is a vortex type of a circulation, that is this type of a circulation that takes place on the poles here. Now, in the polar region, the entire troposphere and stratosphere becomes one, and it's going to be confined with a jet stream. The jet stream is responsible for confining this very cold pool of air. Now, there are two ways in which the jet stream can break. One is when the stratosphere goes on to get warmer, and the second is when there is an unnecessarily high amount of pressure over the Pacific Ocean. So this time, what has happened is over the Pacific, high pressure has intruded. It has moved inside like a tongue in the Arctic vortex region. So some of the air is spilled off. Second is the stratosphere is much more warmer than what it was. Why it was so, or why it is so, now this is left to a lot of questions because that has to be deliberated and so on. So what it did was the vortex that was moving on, that broke, that ruptured. It was this rupturing that allowed very cold icy winds to move south in United States. United States, it had been helped by two mountain ranges running parallel to the coast. One on the western side, that is the Rocky Mountains, and another on the eastern side, that is the Appalachian Mountain ranges. So it becomes easy for the winds to intrude inside. It's not easy in India because in India, the whole of the northern borders are guarded by the Himalayas, Hindu Kush, and Karakoram mountain ranges. So maybe we can go to ascribe climatic change to that portion. But then Sanatan says that the only thing constant in climate is change. Do whatever, climate will change. Whatever that you can go to do, climate has to change. Essentially, I'm going to begin by talking about that one of the thinkings in Sanatan has been disasters are going to be always for the purpose of cleaning the environment. And it doesn't go to consider disasters as disasters. It considers that disasters are phenomena. Any natural phenomena is a phenomena. We're going to make disaster out of it. And disasters, if they go to take place, that is a phenomena of a scale to which human beings are not adapted, that has an overweight purpose of cleaning the whole of the environment to start everything afresh. And one of the biggest poetry collections in India begins with it. It is in Hindi, but I'm going to translate it in English as well. Some of the people who can go to follow Hindi, they can understand it. हिमगिरी के उतुंग शिखर पर बैठ शिला की शीतल छां, एक पुरुष भीगे नैनों से देख रहा था प्रलय प्रवाह। नीचे जल था, ऊपर हिम था, एक तरल था, एक सघन, एक तत्व की ही प्रधानता, कहो उसे जड़या चेतन। This has been taken from Kamani Jayashankar Prasad, written by Jayashankar Prasad. Now it basically goes on to say that there is a disaster that has taken place, and there is one person, lonely person sitting, everything has been destroyed, there is ice on the top, water beneath, and he is just lost in the environment, what to do next. And despite the fact that nature will go on to come to his rescue. That is one part, that is what Sanatan accepts it here. There's another aspect of nature that Sanatan accepts here. That is, nature knows best. That means come what may, whatever may be the situation. It's like you pick up an environment. It's like I'm going to take an analogy. You're going to pick up your watch, open it from behind, and going to poke a screwdriver into it. What will happen? The watch will stop functioning. Why? Because you don't have any right to poke any outside element into the watch. And if anyone has a right, it is the watchmaker who has to poke it inside. So as far as a watch is concerned, who knows it best? It's the watchmaker who knows it best. And as far as the environment is concerned, nature is concerned, who knows it best? That is, the nature knows best. No one knows it better than nature. Then there is a third principle that Sanatan also goes on to follow in this case, as far as nature is concerned. That is that there is no such thing as free lunch. You cannot go on to get something out of nature when you are trying to destroy that. And the more you destroy, the more you will go on to get affected by that also. So it follows that part. The fourth is it says that up till a point, the bigger the better. Beyond that point, the bigger the worse. That means if there are certain type of evolutionary trends that are taking place, all of these evolutionary trends will go on to allow you to become bigger, bigger, bigger. For example, horses used to be as big as the size of a dog. Now horses are almost 6.5 feet tall. Human beings used to be also smaller. Dinosaurs used to be of the size of a cat at some point of a time. They went on to roam the whole of the earth in the best possible manner. Human beings, if you can go to take a look at the micro-evolution of the human beings, you will understand that their shoulders are getting wider, they are becoming taller, and there are a lot of micro-evolutionary trends that are taking place. It's a possibility that in the future, that if this type of trends continue, the human beings will be something like a normal height of human being will be something like 7 feet tall. You will appreciate it that United States, a survey that has been carried out of its soldiers, during the Second World War, it was 5 feet 6 inches. And now, sometime back, it was 6 feet. And now, recently, it has been 6 feet 2 inches on an average. Take the case of tennis players. Pick up the case of Rod Laver. Then you're going to pick up the case of Jimmy Connors. Then you're going to pick up the case of McEnroe. And then thereafter, Rasko Tanner. And then now Djokovic and so on. And any one of them. You will going to find that gradually their height has shown an increase. All of those type of players in Olympics, everywhere. So human beings also going to show certain type of signs. So they will going to grow bigger to a point. Beyond that, they cannot go to grow. Then there's another principle that Sanatan talks about. That is, nature always goes on to correct itself. And that's going to be called in physics as a cybernetics principle. Now, cybernetics is a law in physics that says that if a ship deviates away from the course, that is anywhere, then its compass goes on to say that it has deviated and automatically it corrects it to its normal path. And that is how nature goes on to behave also. So the better part about Sanatan is, of course, talking about nature and correlated to nature, these are the laws that Sanatan goes on to follow, and they are very well manifested in a lot of aspects. But the biggest characteristic of Sanatan goes on to lie in the fact that it is spiritual. It's not a religion. It's not a religion. It's not a concept that there is a God, there is a goddess, and there was someone called as Ram. May have been a person, but he was more symbolic, and that is why he was called by the name of Maryada Purushottam Ram. That is someone who has all the good qualities that a human being must go on to possess. A person who has all the good qualities a human being must go on to possess. He should be like what we're going to be calling as Lord Ram. He may not be having it, but then that is how he has been symbolized. So one is spirituality, second is symbolism, and the third is flexibility in Sanatan. Now, in trying to make it different, how is it that religion and spirituality, both of them are different? Religion is a faith, it's a way of life. It cannot be just one, it can be many. It is an adaptation to your environment. Spirituality is not. Spirituality is what is one sees for themselves. Spirituality is going to be completely true to itself. Religion is not. Religion is going to be a set of dogmatic rules. Spirituality promotes human to reason about everything. Religion threatens and frightens you. Spirituality is governed by the ability to reason and actions, thinking, and gives inner peace. Religion asks a question. Spirituality questions everything in this case. Religion is human. Spirituality is divine. It's not human at all. It's not made by human beings. Religion talks of life after death, sin for wrong deeds and punishment or misdeeds. Spirituality is something is to find true independence. It's freedom, it's peace, it's solace in ourselves during this time, life itself. Religion fills us with the notion of glory, luxury, and paradise. Spirituality makes us live in glory of ourselves. It helps us understand ourselves better. Religion follows books and preachings. Spirituality seeks the sacred and purity of thinking in this case. Religion can cause divisions. Spirituality never divides at all. Spiritually, all in all goes into combine. And what Nirari talked about, Vasudha Kutumbakam, the whole of the world is going to be ours. Religion is a belief system. Spirituality is experiential, and so is Sanatan. Religion aims at a quest for liberation. Religion sets you free completely. Religion has some followers. Spirituality is a walk in solitude. It's not being alone. And religion are groups. Spirituality focus on individuals' progress in this case. And Sanatan is completely spiritual. It has not too much to do with religion in this case at all. At any point of a time, it had never to do anything. Sanatan believes that we are not human beings who go through spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings who go through human experience. Religion is a path. It's a method. It's a way of life. Spirituality is actually based on realization. It's a realization to what a purpose we have in life, the value of our existence, and that is the best part of Sanatan. Sanatan goes on to give you unmatched flexibility. It's like you believe in God, you are Sanatani. You don't believe it, you are still a Sanatani. You are Nastika or you are Astika. People who go on to worship, they are going to be Murti Puja. People who don't worship, they are Nirgun Brahmins. No issues at all in this case. Sanatani also don't go, who want to criticize any religion, you criticize it, keep on criticizing it. So you have Nyaya, you have Tark and whatnot. They are true Hindus, they are true Hindu schools, but then Sanatanis are those who accept beliefs as it is. They don't go on to criticize anyone. They're just going to keep on improving upon themselves. Sanatanis always want to start their journey by reading Upanishads, and that is another part of it. Sanatanis also want to start journey by reading their Puranas as well, right? It's going to be like, even if someone doesn't want to like the idea of bhakti, they can be. You don't have to be bhakt at all. They can be karma yogi. If someone wants to enjoy it, they can enjoy following Charvak philosophy. That is, borrow something, cheat someone, do it anything, but live a luxurious life. Sanatan also goes to say that if you don't want to do it, you are always going to be free in this case. Sanatanis are also those who don't have time to celebrate their festival. There are multiple festivals, but Sanatanis are also who can go to make every day a festival as well. And that is the best part of it. If you're a working person, you are a Sanatani. If you don't want to work, you are still a Sanatani. And this is the exact essence of Sanatan, all inclusive in this sense. The third part about Sanatan being best is going to be symbolism. Sanatan goes on to differentiate it. The only belief, and it's not a religion, it's the only belief that differentiates between God, it differentiates between Ishwar, it differentiates between Dev, it differentiates between Devata. There are four different aspects. It talks about the concept of Ram. It doesn't go to talk about Ram the person. It talks about the concept of Ram Raj. And Ram Raj was essentially a democratic form. Essentially, the way that you can go to govern it, the way that you want to govern the entire of the country, entire of a nation. How is it that you can go to administer it? Sanatan talks about Aranya. And if you can imagine, why is it that people must go to forest, Aranya? This is because in Aranya or in forest, everything is going to be unorganized. Everything is there. There is no karuna. There is no empathy in that region. There is no knowledge. When you go to come to nature, then there is so much amount of knowledge. And when it is going to be, when you go on to come back from Aranya, that is the forest, then you are completely enlightened. That was the basic reason that someone must go to a Aranya. Aranya means forest. Forest means jungle. Jungle means complete chaos. Jungle means there are animals. Animals means who do not going to follow any rule, any law in this case. It is not like Nagar. It's not like a city where everything is going to be arranged in this manner. In Sanatan, there is a concept of goddesses, so many of them, 300. So a tree is also God. Why exactly that tree is God? Because only then you will go on to understand the significance. This is what has been talked about by Pawanji, by Neeraji. This is what I talked about by Kavitaji as well, all of them. And you have been dwelling upon so much amount of a life in this case. It's Sanatan that goes on to talk about the concept of Ravan also. And Ravan was again not a person. He was a concept. Ravan means Dashanan. That means he had 10 heads. 10 heads means not physically, the way that you're going to see it. It was like he can go, he had the power to think like 10 different people. He had the knowledge of 10 different people in this case. Ravan meant he was someone who was very, very powerful, but he was not powerful enough not to win over himself. And if you're not able to win over yourself, you are bound to face extinction. Ravan means something explicit, being very truthful, being very pure, nothing camouflage at all. That was Ravan. Ravan means he was exceptional, extraordinary, unique, and unparalleled. And that is also what Sanatan talks about. Ravan exists only because Ravan exists. Otherwise, there was no existence of Ravan at all. The only thing, it was not Ram who killed Ravan, it was Ravan who himself killed. And it was I of Ravan who killed himself. If you're going to follow I, if you're arrogant, and arrogance is your jewelry, there is no power on the earth that can go on to save you. Nothing at all. And that is the beauty of Sanatan. Sanatan is nature. Sanatan is Prakriti. Sanatan is Sanskriti. Sanatan is sincerity. Sanatan is culture. Sanatan is also part of your symbolism. Sanatan is also spiritual. Sanatan is so flexible. And it is not at all religion. It is not that you have to worship. Sanatan doesn't go to say that you have to worship. Otherwise, you can go to worship your parents, worship your scholars, worship all the people present here are worthy of being worshipped. That's all from my side.